Hello and welcome to the Operator Association podcast. I'm Cody Alford, and today we are on episode 4. Everybody, last episode, we talked about sniper school and really kind of what was going through my mind in this transition. I'm still new in the military. I'm probably at this point in time, maybe like a year and a half in. Um, and it's a lot of things have happened. Year and a half in, I've already got my first deployment. A year and a half in, I'm already, in sniper school, the whole reason why I joined the military, and things are going good, right? So with all that, my mind is like, I was like, holy shit, like what now? And I love being a scout sniper. It was a great thing. It was literally one of the best jobs I had because part of that was really understanding the discipline behind it all, right? Anyone can shoot, anyone can be taught to shoot, but the discipline in the wild, the discipline that it takes, on patrol, in your hide site, with your cami paint, all this type of stuff, right? All these things that really set you apart from the rest, and the reason why a lot of people can't do this job because the discipline. Well, for me, in my specific case, particular, I've already done. Now I'm on my second deployment as a scout sniper team leader. So now I'm an E4, so I'm a corporal, and I'm taking a team out by my own team, my own 4-man team. We're in Iraq, all that type of stuff. Doing sniper missions, sniper operations, sniper reconnaissance, all these things. And once again, another great opportunity to like really learn some more skill sets and to grow, right? Evolve, and I'm just loving it. Well, at this time, our platoon dynamics were kind of changing, and I was really looking for something more. And like I mentioned in a previous podcast, I worked a pretty close hand with Force Reconnaissance. And if you're not familiar with Force Reconnaissance, so in the Marine Corps you have Battalion Reconnaissance, or people just call it Recon, and then you have Force Reconnaissance Company. And so Force Reconnaissance Company was a company, so multiple, like 4 platoons, and these guys were the direct action, special reconnaissance, deep reconnaissance, deep mobility reconnaissance entities. So they were all reconnaissance Marines. However, they had a different mission because battalion reconnaissance, or recon, their mission was uh, reconnaissance surveillance. Their mission was, to provide eyes and ears of the battalion. They supported the MEF, the Marine Expeditionary Force. And then when they would do reconnaissance, and they would learn CQB and close quarters battles, all that type of stuff, right? But their main mission was reconnaissance and surveillance. So Force Reconnaissance was capable of doing that in a grander scale. They had more seasoned guys generally, so a little more senior dudes. So they all had the insert capabilities, free fall, dive, all sorts of stuff. So they'd apply those aspects to all areas of their mission planning, mission execution, all that type of stuff. And it was great, right? So these were like the pinnacle dudes at the time, and it's not like they were better than anyone. They just had a different mission, right? Just like special operations, they're not better than anybody. They have a different mission. It requires a different caliber of individual to go through because, once again, it's the discipline that sets people apart. It's the discipline that is going to keep you and actually get you invited to these organizations, and keep you in these organizations. The discipline, right? The showing up every day, the doing what is required of you, the no quit mentality, the discipline to accomplish the mission, right? So I'm coming back from my second deployment, and I'm just like, and I worked with the Force Recon platoon that entire workup before we deployed. So basically, what that meant was my team, my sniper team, was it used to be called the MSPF, Maritime Special Purpose Force, and so therefore it was recon, a couple platoons from recon battalion, a sniper team, and then the Force Reconnaissance Company, or Force Reconnaissance Platoon. And my sniper team I was a sniper team leader for the MSPF team. And so when all these raids would happen, training evolutions, all that type of stuff, my sniper team would be the one providing the reconnaissance surveillance along with the recon guys. And then we would all feed the mission and information to Force Reconnaissance dudes. And they come in, conduct a direct action raid, do all the other stuff they do, and then they would leave. And I vividly remember one training event. This is before my second deployment. I remember I'm in this bush in Northern California, and I'm like, my whole team's there, and it's like raining on us. It's cold. It's miserable. And I remember it was so cold, and we were going to be out there for 5 days. And so we had to pack a lot of water, a lot of batteries for our radios. And I remember I told my guys to like, hey, wear your ghillie suit bottoms. So our ghillie suit is you guys know what that is, or you don't know what it is. It's our camouflage fatigues that we have netting and burlap and other like 550 cord, paracord on there, so we can attach vegetation and helps break up our outline, right? So you usually see those snipers like stalking with it, and so because we had so much shit we had to hump into the mission, and we had about a 4 kilometer movement. We got inserted by a helicopter. And it was cold as shit. So I had all my guys wear their ghillie suit bottoms, which saved space in the rucksack. Plus, it helped keep us kind of warm when we get settled in. So remember, we get to our hide site. We found out where we wanted to set up at. We saw the objective area, the target building. Our mission was to, provide eyes on this target building, gather all intelligence, as we could, and send it to the raid team, which is a Force Reconnaissance platoon. And they would, once conditions were set, they would go conduct this raid. And dude, it is like miserably cold and miserably wet, right? And so my team finds this hide site. So the hide site is basically a location. So we use vegetation that we could like dig down a little bit and camouflage and basically hide ourselves in there, right? So kind of like playing hide and go seek with the enemy. And we're sitting in there, and like we're literally sitting because we had to dig down because we needed to like secure ourselves a little bit, provide some security and or some cover and concealment. And so we're sitting in there, dude. We're like scooping out water because it's just like raining nonstop, and it's just miserable. But it's fun, like my guys are super disciplined. We're all like putting our camo paint on still. We're making sure that we're doing everything right. We're doing everything like our lives depend on, because that's, once again, the discipline aspect of it all. So here we are, we're in this bush. And I remember giving like all information through the radio to like the raid team that was going to come in and do the mission. And I remember it's like, hey guys, tomorrow morning at like, whatever time they're going to go conduct the operation. So we broke out of our high site. We set up in our final firing positions, and we supported the mission. These guys, they fly in, they do the raid. They're on the objective for maybe like, I don't know, 20 minutes, and they're gone. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I've been out here 5 days. These dudes are like in and out 20 minutes and gone. And this was when I was like, you know what, dude? I gotta, it's time for me to move on. Luckily, they left the mission, and then since it was a big training evolution, everyone consolidated on this training objective. This is this big warehouse building they were at. And these guys didn't play around. Like, they had sleeping bags in like the box truck that pulled up, like their admin box truck. They had hot food. They had cold beverages, and they're obviously like super generous. They're hooking up my team, hooking up the recon guys, making sure like we're all taken care of, because they're like, hey, dude, like we understand that we can't do our mission without you. So they're super grateful, super appreciative, and it really helped me see the full spectrum of it all. And they have snipers on their teams. They have all these other things, right? And I was like, fuck, dude, I want to go to Force Reconnaissance. So I go on this deployment that's coming up. I worked with the Force guys a little bit, but on the way back, we were on a ship. We're floating back, and I was friends with like half the platoon, and I was like, hey, man, like I want to go. They're like, yo, dude, you should like try out for it. There's an NDOC coming up, whenever, right, we got back. I'm like, shit, okay. I'm like, what can I expect? And, people try to tell you like, oh, you should expect, some of this stuff, but they don't tell you everything, just enough to like stress you out even more, right? And so I say that to say this. They could tell you exactly what's going to happen to you, what's to expect, but here's the deal. Who cares? Because it comes down to this. And this is about life, right? You're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. You can have all the answers in the world. You can have all the heads up that you want. But you're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. So these little life hacks, he's like, hey, man, what can I expect when I go to selection? What can I expect when I go run the NDOC? Like, hey, who cares, dude? Show up. Discipline. Don't quit, right? Visualize the win. Have your mind set on, like, I am not quitting. I am pushing through this no matter what. That's all that really matters, is because they can hand you the tool book. They can hand you, like, the playbook. But you're just going to, like, overthink things. You're going to stress things out. You're going to overanalyze things when you really need just to perform, right? And that discipline inside you is going to get you to the finish line, get you to the goalpost, what you want in life. So if you are thinking about, like, man, what can I expect to go to MARSOC or Recon or whatever sniper school? Dude, who cares? understand, can you meet the basics? Can you pass the basic requirements? That's all you need to focus on, right? Can you get an invite? That's all you need to focus on. If you can do those things, then all you need to focus on when you get there is executing the task at hand. One piece at a time, one step at a time. Always push forward. Don't look fucking back, and don't overanalyze the situation because you're just gonna fuck yourself up. So, so that all happened. I'm like, yeah, my mind's made up. I'm doing this, and they're like, yeah, bro, you should totally try it. And so I come back from this deployment, and I'm like, fuck, dude, I kind of suck at swimming. So my whole 10 days of leave that I had I went home to see my parents. I went to the YMCA and I swam every day, and I swam in my camis, and I'm really trying to just like push myself because this is something I normally wouldn't do, and I realized that it was very fucking difficult. And I already had a track record for not being like the best swimmer. So, and I knew that part of the screening was all fucking swimming for the most part. And so there's no secret. So the reconnaissance screening, right? The recon screening, you can look that stuff up online. That's not a secret, especially if you want to be like an O3XX. That's that reconnaissance contract when you go into the military. You gotta tread water. You gotta like do 25 meter underwater crossovers, swim 500 meters in camis in a certain time, jump off the tower. That's when you tread your water. And then you do a PFT. You run 3 miles. You do your pull-ups and your sit-ups. And I don't know if they've changed things, but I highly doubt it. But that was just like the basic intro things to get in, right, to pass the screening. And obviously you had to do it to standard and to the timeline. And so I remember, I'm back in the barracks now. I live downtown at this moment in life. And I'm back in the barracks because I know my screening is like the next day. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm fucking nervous. Like I'm really nervous. I'm anxious. I'm excited. I'm nervous because here's the deal. You and I, we can all talk about shit we want to do, but when you actually step up to go do it, fuck, that's a different level. And that can be overwhelming. That's why not everyone does it. People are like, man, I could have done that shit. Well, bitch, you didn't. Man, I was going to do it, but you didn't. And that's okay. But when you do it, like, bro, that's like stepping up. Remember that last episode I talked about? I'm patrolling and I'm like visualizing, like, holy crap, man, I'm like finally doing like what I dreamt about as a child, as a young man growing up, patrolling, campaign, all that crap. So I remember eating a banana because I'm like, dude, I don't want to eat too much. I don't want to like poop or throw up. I'm already kind of like anxious, nervous. And I get there, I show up. There's only like 4 of us, which even made it creepier because there's a big ass pool and only 4 dudes. And I'm just like, oh, fuck. And it's kind of intimidating. It's very quiet. And then it's Southern California. So like, like the temperature change is causing like that like fog mist over the water, and it's all calm. And you kind of feel like a complete badass at the same time, even though you haven't done anything yet, but you feel like a badass for even being there. And they give you like the safety brief and like what you're going to go through, blah, 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 all this type of shit. They tell you the standard. And then you start executing. And I remember I had such the hardest time. Like the swimming, I swam. I passed the time limit. I passed the requirement for the swimming, but dude, it was abomination. It was horrible. And then I remember I really struggled for the tread water. Like I had my head down a couple times. They're like, hey, get your head up out of water. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm dying. I'm drowning. Because you're treading water with camis. And I just wasn't a strong, confident swimmer at the time. And I didn't know how to do any of this. And this is like the first, or really like the second time I'm actually even trying this shit. So this is all new to me. And I wasn't a stud at any of this crap. And then we go do the PFT. And the PFT, dude, I could smoke my 20 pull-ups. That was easy. My 100 sit-ups, that was easy. My run time was about like a 21 minute at the time. After the swim, it was about like a 21:30 because I wasn't conditioned to like swimming and then running because that just wasn't something I was into. I wasn't doing that on my own because this is all new and I really didn't honestly know what to expect or really how to prepare for it. All I knew is that I couldn't quit. And I go through this whole screening process and they're like, hey, yeah, you're not really cut out for this. I'm like fucking devastated. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like I know my head went underwater a couple times. I know all this type of shit. And I'm just like I'm beating myself up. I'm like, oh my God, dude, like I suck. And so I go back to my battalion and I tell my platoon commander, I'm like, hey dude, like they said I didn't like make the requirement. Like they said like it probably wasn't gonna happen. And he's like, okay, well, let's just see what happens. And sure as shit, dude, I got my officer calls me in, my platoon commander's like, hey, I got a phone call from the company, the force company, and they're like, hey, they want you to go TAD, temporary assignment of duty. So basically they wanted me to like check in there as a temporary duty status. And they said like, hey, dude, they see potential, they know your record. They said they think that they can work with you, you know? And so I'm like, oh my God, like this honestly, this gracious gift, like I'm beyond grateful for this opportunity. And I'm like, fuck, dude. You know, because like this is like war era, right? Like the beginning of the GWAT-ish, you know, the GWAT time frame. And there wasn't a big like cesspool of military people, right? There was like, it was all top quality people across the board for the most part. And, you know, a lot of guys were getting out, a lot of guys were getting injured. And, you know, it was just a different era of the Corps, right? There wasn't this huge influx, and things like reconnaissance and Force Recon, they just weren't mainstream shit. People weren't really about that because this shit was fucking hard to do. And a lot of people weren't really even educated about it, even though it was an opportunity. And so already being a scout sniper, they're like, okay, blah, blah, blah. Like, let's just see what happens. So I remember checking in there, and all we did, and the guys that I was there with, the three other guys there, we got put into an RMAT of Recon Marines awaiting training. So basically, like every day, we're ruck running. You know, we're doing everything programmed. We're on a schedule. We're ruck running. We are, you know, we're push-ups, pull-ups, swimming. We're doing everything. And then, but it's still kind of chill, right? Because I'm at the Force Reconnaissance Company, and I'm painting walls. Like I'm a nobody there, dude. Like I've been on 2 combat deployments already. I know some of these Force Recon guys, but like now I'm in their backyard, so it was a completely different dialogue. They weren't my homeboys. You know, they were like, hey, dude, get your shit together, get your shit done. Hey, get this done. Like they were like holding my ass to a standard, holding me accountable. I'm just like, fuck, you do whatever you got to do because I'm just pumped to be here. And then they're like, hey, next week you guys are checking into First Recon Battalion, and you're going to go to the RIP. And so RIP is Recon Indoctrination Program. And I'm like, oh my God. And this like super mega stud, Charlie Cartwright, he was there with me. Charlie passed away in deployment. A few rotations after this. But Charlie was a fucking man, dude. And he just finished RIP. And he's like, bro, that shit was hard. I'm like, damn, he said it was hard, and this guy's a stud muffin? I'm like, oh my God, I'm dreading it. So my 3 friends, so 4 of us in total, we check into 1st Recon Battalion, and we go through RIP, Recon Indoctrination Program. Now, granted, we are there with a bunch of like 18-year-old kids. Like all of us, we've all done like 1 or 2 deployments. We're all like sergeants now, and everyone else is like a lance criminal, lance corporal. You know, E1 to E3 was like everyone's rank. Maybe an E4 here and there. And these guys have been there. Some of them have been there for months, just training every day. And it's not like training on your own. It's like fucking a very rigid, very treacherous type of training schedule, right? Like, because Recon Battalion did not play around. This is the era when like the standards were high and like men held each other accountable. And like, dude, there was like a lot of free range when it came to training and how you could like actually do things back in the day. And you know, there was no cutting corners. It was all like you earn every fucking inch you get. And so I'm like, bro, and this was, I think, 2 weeks. And dude, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Like harder than any school I've ever been to. And which is good. And that's how they're designed to be, right? Because if you pass that shit, you know, you should be able to go to school and pass it because with no fucking issues, right? Well, the whole time there's like this one dude, and he like hated me and my friends because we were like going to Force Reconnaissance. They're like, "Oh, you guys fucking going straight to Force Recon, huh?" Blah 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 blah, and just like really riding our coattails. I'm like, damn, dude, like I'm just here to do whatever I'm supposed to be doing, like learn and like move on. And I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't like really bad, but it was definitely like, man, we were definitely rubbing some people wrong. And dude, every fucking week, or like every like twice a week, 3 times a week, we're running like a recon screener. So like what I only did like once or twice before, like I'm doing like fucking 3 times a week now, and it's nuts. Actually, RIP was like longer. It might have been like a month long. I'm not even sure. It was such a traumatic experience for me. Like it wasn't over very quickly. It was like never ending, it seemed like. But dude, it was like one of the best things I ever did. I was in the best shape of my life. I couldn't swim, I couldn't run, I had no really water confidence then, but I learned it, and I learned that confidence by just doing it over and over again, sucking more and more and more. And guess what? Over time, I was able to build up, build up, build up. And when it came to and here's a tip I want to give you. You can do the same shit over and over again, expecting different results, but if you do nothing different, none of those results you're looking for are going to come. So what that means to me is, for instance, there's when we do a screening, and we do the pull portion, now it's time to do the running. Well, I remember there was we'd run by this obstacle course, and I knew that as soon as I passed it on the way back, I only had probably maybe 3-4 minutes of running left at my current pace. So then I started telling myself yo, dude, push yourself faster now. So each time I hit that post, I would run faster. And because I always knew when I got to the finish line that I could have, because that my last 30 seconds of the run, I would just all out just go. But I'd get to the finish line and be like, dude, I still have some gas in my tank. So next time I had that opportunity, I would start running earlier and harder, right? And so I'm pushing myself and I'm getting better and better. And so a guy like myself who started off extremely weak, I was not a strong runner, I wasn't a strong swimmer, dude, I'm dominating. Now I'm not beating everybody, but I'm beating myself. I'm beating all those times that I was actually slow. So really do your best when you're doing these types of training events. Yeah, everything's a competition, right? You don't want to fucking be the second best. You want to be the number one best. But you also have to look at where you started from and where you're going to. If you're not seeing progression, you're doing something fucking wrong. If you're seeing progression, see where else there's room for improvement at, right? So there's always room for improvement. Every fucking day is a selection in our lives, whether you're in the military or not. There's always room for us to improve on something. So here I am, just fucking crush and rip, just dominated. And so we finish it, and we had a shadow there the entire time. One of the Force Recon dudes was shadowing us to make sure that, we weren't sucking at pre-BRC or RIP. He was making sure we were fucking men about it because we're going to an elite unit. And so he tells us one day, he's like, hey, next week, you guys have to run the NDOC on Thursday. And if you don't fucking pass, you're going back to your units. We're like, what the fuck? So now, not only did I have to run a screening just to get an invite to go to pre-BRC or RIP, and you have to pass RIP. Now, after you pass RIP, you have to go past the Force Recon NDOC, and that's a whole different beast in itself, man. And so I'm just like, oh my God. So it was at the time, it was, a hybrid version of the swim portion of the recon screening with a little bit harder, complex shit. Had some bricks involved, some rescue swims involved. And then you had the PFT, which is normal. Then you had to do an obstacle course, a double obstacle course back to back under a certain time frame, it's pretty difficult. And then you had to do this thing called the levels test, where you're literally just they're telling you 8-count bodybuilders, push-ups, sit-ups, all these different mountain climbers, and there's no specified number you have to get. They just tell you to fucking go. And I remember throwing up on my instructor, my Force Recon instructor, because I was I took this Endurox or some type of fucking electrolyte because after this there's a ruck run, and I took it to stay hydrated because I'm smoked. You just do other stuff in the swimming pool, and you're already clonked out from that. Now you're switching over into PT gear and you're running, and then you're switching back into camis to do, the levels test, the O course and the levels test. And I'm just going. I'm like, bro, I'm gonna fucking die doing this because I am disciplined to not fucking quit. I'm not gonna be the best at everything I do in life, and I know that, and I accept that. But I sure as fuck am not going to quit. I'm definitely not going to quit on anything. And so there I am, and I'm just going hardcore, and I just threw up on this guy, and I'm doing mountain climbers, where you're in the push-up position, you just bring your knees up and stuff like that, and I Ralph all over him, and I'm like, oh my God, my bad. And this dude was super badass. He was A, he was a badass in real life, but B, he was super badass in the moment. He's like, continue. I'm like, oh my God, what am I getting into? And then you go on this shit, how long was it? It was 12-mile ruck run, some shit like that, and you had a time period. And dude, but it's so badass because here you are in this fucking base, right? And people are going to their 9-to-5 jobs. Here you are, people are just milling about, going to the PX to buy nice things, cigarettes, dip, Monsters, whatever. They're going to lunch, and here you are, fucking, you look malnutrition. You're sweating your ass off. and you have this heavy ass fucking pack on, and you're just running these ridge lines. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it was so empowering. It was such a badass feeling because I was finally doing it. I was doing hard shit. I wasn't thinking about doing the hard shit. I was actually doing the hard shit, and it's fucking motivating. It's super empowering. So understand that your goals and shit, as much as they charge you up right now, just think about how they're gonna charge you up when you're actually doing it, right? Hard shit fucking makes us. And you don't have to be like hard shit as in like, you know, being a recon guy or a sniper. No, I'm not talking about that type of ego shit. I'm talking about hard shit. Things that are fucking hard that you just crush, that you don't quit on, that you're like, bro, I talked about this, I dreamt about this, and now I'm actually doing it. Bro, that's how you transform your life in all facets of it, right? It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be anything macho, man. It can literally be anything. But actually putting action to like your thoughts and your words, it's fucking empowering. So here I am, we're running, and like I'm chafing big time. I think my silkies are still like wet and shit. And we finish, and then you have to do like there's like this beach portion you have to do, and it just kind of like went on and on a little bit. I'm like, holy fuck, when is this thing going to end? And finally they're like, all right, take off your packs and like throw it in the fucking truck. I'm like, oh my god, it's over. And they're like, keep on running. I'm like, oh my god, what are we doing? Like, just, you know, it's a good tactic they use, and it's just like, okay guys, we're done with this phase, and they transition to something else. You're like, dude, this is never ending. And, you know, because it messes with people's minds. Because, listen, anyone can pass physical shit. It's the mental stuff that they're testing you. It's like all these physical things you're going through, yes, to make sure that you're in shape and you can handle this shit. But it's the mental aspect that they're really after, right? They're really seeing, are you going to fucking break or not? Therefore, they're creating these dynamic environments to see how fucking disciplined you actually are. And do you embody the intestinal fortitude to fucking continue pushing on and accomplish the mission? That's what all this shit's about. So we're doing that, and it's finally over, and they do some talking to us and blah 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 blah, and they're like, all right, be back to, you guys are off, and we're done. By the way, I've done all this shit starting at 6, and I'm done about like 11 or 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So like it's about a 6-hour evolution from start to finish, and I was fucking smoked. And that's just the induct, right? I haven't even gone to school. I've only done like pre-BRC. BRC stands for Basic Reconnaissance Course. So I did the pre-BRC. Now I did the fucking Force Reconnaissance Indoctrination. And now they're like, our boss is like, hey, you guys come back tomorrow at noon. Bro, I went home and I passed out on my carpet floor. And at the time, I had 3 other roommates from my old sniper platoon. And my pinky toes had cramps. And they ended up getting home around like 4 o'clock that day. They're like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, dude, I am so smoked. I'm so smoked. But it was a great feeling because I felt so fucking accomplished, dude. Like, I did that. I did that. I was there. I was doing all that things. And like, these are just things I was really proud of myself about because once again, these are just thoughts that I actually turned into fucking action. And that's not a common thing, believe it or not. So if you have fucking thoughts and you really want to go do that stuff, go make it happen. Because the last thing you want in this lifetime is to fucking have regret. So we do all this thing, and you know, I'm so happy. And so now that we passed the indoc, they're like, okay, now you guys have your BRC date. And we're like, damn, it never ends. So now we're going to BRC, the recon school, and this is like a month, not even a month later, right? And so the whole time we're just training, and it's just like never ending. And so I find myself going to recon to BRC, and BRC back in the day was in Coronado, in California, on Coronado Island, and that's where Buds, the SEALs, do their training at the Buds training. And this was such a badass opportunity. And on top of this, like I just turned 21. It's summertime, and it's like May, so it's like May, June time frame. It's summertime. And BRC, dude, was a fucking cakewalk for me. It was, when I got there, I really learned that, because a lot of the information, a lot of these schools you go to, they have to teach you the basics. Because you're there with guys that have never been in a reconnaissance unit, a sniper unit, don't know anything about radios, none of this shit. Well, I grew up in the sniper community, so I'm not saying I knew everything, but I knew a fuck ton about, like, either, testable definitions, testable, like basic Marine Corps knowledge, basic principles of reconnaissance and surveillance and all these types of things. And one of the greatest things that I learned there was the nautical part, because I didn't know how to do nautical navigation. I didn't know how to do any of that stuff, like small boat unit stuff. And so that's what I really learned on. But, you know, having this previous background being a scout sniper, and I'm not saying to be successful in recon school, you need to be a scout sniper first. That's not the case. I just happened to be one. I was also a senior guy, and it was just much easier for me. But what made it much easier for me was the fact that I went to RIP. I did that hard as shit that prepared me to go dominate BRC, to make it fucking easy, right? Because, yeah, BRC is hard. You know, it's challenging times. You're still doing more swimming. You're still doing more running. You're doing more this, more that, more this, more that, and it never ends. And all these tests on top of that stressfulness. But I mean, fuck, if they said, hey, congratulations, you signed up for this. Now here you are, you're part of the unit. Would you feel good about that? Would you feel honorable about that? Is that going to make you want to fucking like push through at any type of adversity or hardships in your life? Fuck no, man. That's like some basic bush league crap, right? We don't want no handouts. You know, there ain't nothing wrong helping other people out or getting help yourself. But, you know, when it comes to like, you know, having to go through all these hard gates, like it helps you learn a lot about yourself, right? That voice inside your head that's like, bro, this sucks, quit. And you're like, fuck you, dude. Fuck you. I'm not going to quit. I'm about this life. And you better get the fuck on board. And when you have those conversations with yourself, that's when you grow. You know, just like being a leader. Man, this leader sucks, that leader sucks, I have a shitty leader, blah, blah, blah. But what are the good things or the bad things you can take away from them? Because even a shitty leader can give you great learning lessons. Because you know exactly what you don't want to be like. But you have to go through those shitty leaders to understand what a good leader is, and to be appreciative of a good leader, and to be appreciative of all the hard work you're putting into yourself to be a good leader. So the same thing is when it comes to these hard gates in life, like it's worth what you put into it, right? And so I met BRC, and it's just, honestly, dude, it was I dominated that shit. It was a breeze. It was a breeze. I mean, you tell me if you wouldn't be motivated and you wouldn't dominate it also if you're like on the beach at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning on the SEAL side, right? Where the SEALs train, the Buds guys train. And you're on the beach and you're just fucking quiet. And you remember looking at these videos on the Discovery Channel, his channel, about like United States Navy SEALs or the Marine Reconnaissance Elite and blah, 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 all these things. And you're actually there what you've seen on TV before as a child. And you're actually there with a fucking pack on in your camouflage fatigues on the beach doing this. Tell me you wouldn't crush it. You might not be the best, the fastest out there, right? Because you're surrounded by the best. But you don't tell me your level of just like motivation wouldn't just fucking increase. Like, bro, out of the thousands and thousands and thousands of people that talk about it, you're actually there. So when you're going through all this type of stuff, no matter what you're going through, you know, never forget the amount of like courage it took to get there, right? Because a lot of people can talk. A lot of people can even show up. But not a lot of people can stay there. All right? And that's okay. But understand, give yourself a fucking like some understandable credit, like, yo, dude, this is the shit. And this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I can either gap this off and like blow it off, or I can dominate it. And you'll be surprised what's gonna happen. Plus, you're around a fucking bunch of alpha males that are probably gonna motivate you, not with this dumb fake stuff like you can do it, but like, bro, that guy is so fast. I don't want to be last, so I'm gonna catch this guy. I'm gonna go ask that guy for advice. Like, hey, what are you doing to be so fucking fast in the ruck running? You know, I was a fucking master ruck runner. Dude. I felt like I could ruck run my butt off. And I had a goal. There was this one guy, his name was Jake, and he was like always number one for our beach ruck runs. And I'm like, fuck that, dude. So like I was always in competition with him to fucking win. And so I was always like second or third, and then I just started becoming first. And it was all good brotherly love, right? Like we pushed each other. But like, that's the level of shit. What am I not good at? What can I dominate to fucking get better at it, right? So always find those rooms for improvement and always try to better yourself, because this is your life. And then the fucking day, you have to answer for this shit. So, you know, make it your fucking best. So BRC really was about, you know, we learn fieldcraft, we learn how to patrol, you know, you learn how to land navigate, you learn how to use radios, you understand, you learn the mission of the reconnaissance and surveillance organization, right? And then you do a lot of PT, a lot of physical training, a lot of swimming, a lot of thinning, right? And then BRC especially pre-BRC or RIP, you do a lot of finning. So finning basically means you have your fins on, you like your diving fins, and generally speaking, you're always toting or pushing a rucksack. So you make your ruck floatable. You put you waterproof it a certain way, and you anchor it to you. You tie it to you, and you're either pulling it behind you in tow or you're pushing it. And you're doing like hours of this shit every time you're touching the water, and so it's not easy, and it's challenging. But at the same time, when it sucks, and you're like, oh my god, this sucks, there's everyone else around you that's thinking the same damn thing. And if that's not motivating, the fact that other dudes are thinking the same thing, but fuck, this sucks, and they're still there pushing, bro, that's just when you bust through these limiting beliefs of like, oh, I can't do it, and you're like, fuck it, man, I got this shit. Like, I'm not fucking quitting. I'm not quitting. You couldn't pay me to quit. You couldn't make me quit. One thing was really motivating about BRC, and at the time, like I said, now it's on Camp Pendleton, the whole course, and like I have a buddy over there that runs it, and he's an amazing man. His name is Frank, and he runs a tight ship, dude. Those dudes are like getting some amazing training. But one thing I really enjoyed about being on Coronado, though, was the SEALs. The Buds guys were there. The guys trying to become SEALs were there. And it was really cool to kind of like get their perspective on things. And we didn't really talk much. We were on different schedules, but we'd see each other in the chow hall. We would see each other like doing PT on the beach. And, the SEALs, and you've seen it in the movies and TV shows, and obviously, even Operator Association, they post about this stuff, right? They have like, don't ring the bell. And you see them carry around this bell every time. And what I really admired about the Buds guys is that they can quit anytime. Anytime they can just say, you know what, this isn't for me. They go up and they ring that bell 3 times, they're done. And let me tell you something. I've heard that bell ring multiple times. And when that bell went off, it was fucking depressing. Because they wanted a quick fucking fix to the pain that they were causing themselves. And in the matter of fucking 15 seconds of ringing that bell, it was over for them. All that hard work, all that sacrifice, all that preparation leading up to that moment was all gone. And what was really crazy, a lot of these guys, I'd see them ring out, they would ring at the bell, they'd ring at lunchtime. But once again, it's a psychological game. They go to lunch or chow hall, and they're like, all right, now we're going to do this. And they're like, oh my God, fuck. And they're like, we're not going to quit until someone fucking quits. We're not going to stop till someone quits. And that just breaks people down. And when you hear dumb shit like that, guess what? Okay, motherfucker. Well, you can't stop time, motherfucker. You can't stop time. Bring it on. Bring it on. Because you're not going to quit. So who cares they want to PT you all night? Who cares? They're not going to mistreat you. But they can't stop time. So they can say they're going to train your ass until the sun comes up. But guess what? There's a schedule to uphold, right? They have a schedule. They have a time frame. Be like, okay, dude, you can play this mind game with me, but it ain't going to work. So remember that. Don't fall into these traps, these psychological traps of like, how are we going to defeat you? Because the biggest man gets defeated not in the heat of battle, but in the quiet of the fucking field, right? On the peace of the field. When it's quiet outside. When he's contemplating thoughts. He doesn't fucking quit in the midst of battle. He quits when he's contemplating thoughts. And those thoughts have overpowered the man's mind. Therefore, he fucking quit on himself. And let me tell you something. I've seen these guys' eyes. I look at it with both sides. One, good on them. Because it takes fucking courage to quit something. And it takes courage for them to be like, you know what, this isn't for me. You know what, this is not what I really thought it was about. This is not what I signed up for. And then I see the other side, like, damn, temporary comfort, you fucking quit on your goals? Because I don't think there's anyone that's like, you know what, I'm going to wake up and be a SEAL today. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I'm going to go fucking be a SEAL. Don't know anything about anything. Like most guys, I'd imagine, like, I don't know much about it. I just know I want to be part of it. So I'm going to start working for it. And I know that's my goal, right? Like, I'm going to fucking be it. Most people that show to Buds or show up to be a reconnaissance Marine or a scout sniper, they tell themselves, like, dude, I'm going to be this. I want to be that. Now they have that opportunity and then they fucking go quit on themselves. It's nuts. It's next level psychology to like look at it. I find it fascinating because humans are insane, right? We're very fucking powerful, and the mind is very powerful, and sometimes you just see that the mind can be overpowering for some people, and does it make them weak? I don't fucking know, man. It ain't me to judge them, but it is a sight to see sometimes. But that's not why you're here, right? You're not here for that shit. And everyone's like, I'm never going to fucking quit. But you know what? You're faced with that adversity. You're faced with that type of like mental blocks and shit like that. you'll be surprised what your mind tells you to do. When you're sleep deprived, when you're talking to, dude, I talked to I remember on part of BRC, there's like, towards the end, there's like this like big ass like patrol phase, or actually during patrol phase, and patrol phase kind of sucks. It's one of the more difficult portions of reconnaissance school because all you do is patrol. You're just switching positions in this fucking team, and everyone's doing a different role, right? Everyone on the team has roles and responsibilities, and then there's a team leader, and so everyone's rotating through these roles and responsibilities, getting evaluated. Whether playing the route, navigating to the route, controlling the mission, all this type of shit. You doing the radio, all this crap, and so you're just patrolling nonstop. You're sleep deprived, or all this shit. And I remember we had this like, hey, you guys we had like a 45-minute downtime. We still had to hold security, but like it was kind of like an administrative role. It was like, hey, everyone get fucking sleep type of shit because like we were all just like dying. And I remember I had it was like we were there for like more than 45 minutes. It was like for the evening. I remember having like a 45-minute conversation with one of the students that I was in the school with. So I thought. Turns out after 45 fucking minutes of talking to this dude, I was like, dude, why isn't he saying anything? Well, that's because he was a bush. And I was so damn tired, I was hallucinating. And when your mind slips like that, all sorts of weird shit can happen, right? That sleep deprivation. Well, what I'm going to do with my life now is like when it's my time to sleep, I'm going to fucking get some sleep. And guess what? I'm going to repeat this shit again the next day. And I'll repeat that shit every other day and every other day and every other day and every other day that it takes to become and accomplish the goals that I have, right? Once again, that discipline to yourself, no matter what hardships or like awkward ass things you go through, like just remember that it's what you make of it, right? And I still laugh about talking to this bush I still talk about this stuff. I'm talking about it right now, actually, and I look back on these memories and I'm just like, bro, you accomplished a lot of stuff. And notice in this podcast, I'm not telling you like, okay, on phase 1, you're on week 2 of this, because it doesn't matter. Because you're just going to stress yourself out. All I want to share with you is that I am so happy that you are going to embark on a journey no matter what that is. No matter what job you want to do, special operations, not special operations. I really want you to just focus on the journey. And know that that's what it takes. Just focus on the task at hand. Stop trying to look for all the fucking answers and the secrets, because there ain't none. It's hard work. It's discipline. That's the fucking secret. That's the answer you're looking for. How do I do that? Discipline. How do I do that? Hard-ass work, motherfucker. How do I do that? Discipline. Well, how do I do that? Hard-ass work, motherfucker. It's a vicious cycle of reality and truth. The thing is, not everyone's down for that. Not everyone's down for reality and truth. And I'd be lying to you if I said that there wasn't times that I questioned my own reality and truth. But it's the discipline. It's having my mind made up on nothing but fucking success. That's all that mattered to me, right? Is not letting my dudes down, success. Not quitting on myself, success. Accomplish the task at hand, success. Showing up the fucking next day, even when I don't want to, even when I'm feeling like a bitch inside, even when it's hard as shit and I'm doing something hard today and I really don't want to, success. So whether you're dealing with life, military, a selection, listen, you have the ability to put yourself under so much fucking stress. You'll be talking to your preferable, I can't even say that word right, proverbial trees endless times in your career where you're so fucking down, you're so fucking tired, and you can break or you can fucking laugh. And when you laugh, you can grow. When you laugh, you can be like, holy shit, okay, I need to self-check myself next time. But when you break, it's a trickle effect. When you break and you tell yourself, fuck, I can't do this anymore, you need to ask yourself, what are your truths? What are you really about? What are you really willing to tell yourself in the mirror? When it's just you in the mirror, what are you really willing to have that conversation with yourself? What are you going to say to yourself? Hey, dude, sorry I let you down. Or like, hey, bro, we fucking gave it our best. We might not have been what they're looking for, or we gave it our best and we crushed it, like, right? Because some things are out of your hands. But what is in your hands, what's in your control, is your mindset, is your discipline, your desire to fucking push forward, right? I try to tell people, especially for selection for MARSOC or any selection in general, you're going to self-assess yourself. You're going to put enough stress on your own. Well, the instructors or the environment don't need to stress you out because you're going to do it yourself. So how do you fucking don't have that? How do you avoid that? Take everything one step at a time. Focus on the task at hand. My task at hand for that last part was talking to this bush, downloading, right? Downloading what was on my mind, having that experience like I share it now in this moment. And you know what happened when I woke up the next day when it was time to get up and get moving? I grabbed my shit and I put one foot in front of the other and I made it fucking happen. Because I know that I am merely a reflection of the organization that I'm going to. And last thing I know is I don't want to show up to a unit where I'm half-assing or where I'm not my fucking best that I can be, because they deserve the fucking best, right? Because their lives depend on it. So BRC was really just fine-tuning and learning new skills, right? Learning new skills definitely when we got the amphibious portion phase with the finning and the Zodiacs, the rubber boat crafts, and like, dude, let me tell you something. Carrying those fucking things, it's not easy. And one thing I was always confused about, you see guys that are going to buds, you see them carrying around their fucking dinghies, right? They're like holding above their heads, blah, blah. But those things are like fucking 50 pounds maybe, 50, 60 pounds. Manageable. Dude, our Zodiacs with the fucking deck plates in, because there's aluminum plating in the bottom of it. Dude, those motherfuckers, hundreds of pounds. They're fucking heavy. And then when they make you carry those motherfuckers with the engines on them, bro, those engines are fucking heavy. And it's awkward. It's all awkward weight. And there is no comfortable place to hold it. There is no comfortable position to hold it. And when you're holding those things, you're doing boat PT. Fuck, man, it feels so good because it's hard. And it feels so good to be out there with other hard-ass fucking men who are like, that had the same dreams you did as a kid or as a young man, as an adult, young woman, doesn't matter. You're there with people who wanted to fucking experience the suffering because through that suffering, they rise. Through that adversity, they rise. They rise to their goals. They rise to their dreams. They rise to their fucking highest self, right? What they vision their self to be, their goals and their desires. You're no different. You're fully capable of all this shit. The thing is, you're probably going to fucking break mentally before you break physically. Because you're going to have fucking doubts. Don't let those doubts break you. You know, we're all capable of breaking. Just don't fucking do it. Easier said than done, but once you get there, once you get to that experience in your life, no matter what it is, like I said, military or not, you'll know. All right? So BRC, I enjoyed it. It was actually really fun to me because I was there. I was very fortunate. It was summertime. Just a great experience. And once, just like sniper school, man, I went to sniper school to fine-tune my skill set and to learn the shit that I didn't know and to get the title, right? To get the opportunity to now become a scout sniper or reconnaissance marine, force reconnaissance marine. And you know, when you're doing that shit, it just like you just kind of see these like life puzzles kind of fall into place for you. And it's an amazing feeling. And I'm sure y'all have already experienced something like that, whether it's in high school, whether that's a relationship or a job opportunity you had, or even the military yourself, right? You could be in the military right now. And you notice, man, where you put your energy at and you put your mindset to, like, you'll be surprised what you can really accomplish. And that's life, man. It's so powerful. And you're fucking powerful. So we graduate BRC, and like BRC, like I said, BRC was pretty simple-ish, I guess. You know, not taking anything from it, but like at that point, I was trained by some bad motherfuckers, right? And I went through a hard-ass rip, and I'm sure you're going to go through a hard rip too if you're trying to go the recon route. And I'm not saying it was the last hard class. You'll hear that in the military. No, motherfucker, everything is hard when it's hard. That's just as simple as it can be. But those hard things set you up for success because it's all designed so you fucking can go past these things. It's all designed to build you up, even though you feel like it's breaking you down. And the Marine Corps does a really good job with breaking you down physically, but they build you up mentally. You're a fucking mental machine if you choose to be. So don't underestimate the power of misery, because misery can change your life. You know, if you find the power to do it within. And so we graduate BRC, and I actually was like honor grad at BRC, and I was so fucking pumped. That means I graduated #1 in the class, and it was like a huge accomplishment. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like completely unexpected, but like I didn't ever doubt myself, but I didn't go there to be like, I'm going to be #1. I'm a fucking leader. Just like you listening around, you're a leader. And if you have knowledge, if you have experience and you're not fucking sharing it, if you're not helping to build people up, you're a fool. And you're a selfish fool. So really avoid that shit in your career, because you're going to see a lot of that, and just just try to stay clear from that, unless that's what you're about, and that's okay, because not everyone's a leader, and that's totally cool. There's no shame in that game. But if you get input, if you have an opportunity to help someone out, why wouldn't you want to, right? Because it all comes back full circle. So we check back in, and now I'm going back to my old infantry unit, right? I started off in 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines. That's where I was a scout sniper at. And I remember I'm back there, and I'm like, I have my unit checkout sheet, and I'm checking out of the infantry, and I'm getting ready to go check into Force Reconnaissance. And let me just tell you, bro, I'm like on cloud 9. I'm super pumped. I'm so fucking stoked to be there. I'm so stoked for this opportunity. And just to think that within less than a year before, I was on a ship coming back from Iraq, visualizing I wanted to be a Force Reconnaissance Marine. And now I actually have to do all those fucking things and accomplish those fucking goals. And that's what it takes with you. You gotta fucking visualize what you want in life. It might not be completely specific for you, it might not be completely clear, but set these checkpoints, these roadblocks in your life, and fucking go attack it. Go win the day. Because there's going to be plenty of men and women who are willing to answer that call to step up to the fucking occasion. And so when you're faced with an opportunity to like, hey, are you down for this? Bro, are you down or what? It's really what it comes down to. Are you about this life or are you not about this life? And you're going to quickly find out. And I have no doubt in my mind that the people listening to this right now, especially if you're in the Operator Association group, that you're fully capable of this. The fact that you're even here right now listening to this shit just tells me that you're like, bro, I want to take in as much information as I possibly can, and I want to continually to build out my visuals. I want to continuously build out my desired end state of what I want to be and what I want to accomplish, because that type of preparation and planning is going to take you to the next level. And I'm so happy for all of you guys. And if there's any gals out there, I'm happy for you gals. Like, I've seen a bunch of fucking tough chicks. I've seen a bunch of tough dudes, and I've seen a bunch of weak-ass fucking chicks, and I've seen a bunch of weak-ass fucking dudes. And listen, not one is right or wrong. All thing is right or wrong is what's right and wrong for you. What's best for you, what's wrong for you. Like, you have to start using these. You have to start being aware of your environment, your surrounding, and start making actual decisions for yourself and investing in yourself. And if you want something in life, don't just fucking sit there and dwell about it, think about it. Be fucking scared. Go face those fears and just see. And let me give you this last piece of advice. Every opportunity that I ever looked at for in the Marine Corps, whether that was going to Scout Sniper, being a Force Reconnaissance Marine, or becoming a Marine Raider, all I ever wanted was a chance to fail. That's it. Because with every chance to fail, there's an opportunity to succeed. A lot of people just want to fucking win. I want to win too. But I flip it. I humble myself. I'm like, dude, I just want a fucking chance to fail, dude. I want to be put out there because there's a chance to fail, there's a chance to succeed, and I know I'm not a fucking quitter. Ain't happening. I'm not going to be the best runner, best swimmer, best blah, 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 whatever. But I'm not going to give up on myself. And when I do have those limiting belief moments where I'm like, fuck, this is so hard, this boat is so heavy, or this pack is so heavy, oh my God, blah, 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 woe is me, victim, 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 victim. I take that as fuel. And I'm like, fuck, I can't quit. If I quit, these dudes are fucked. If I quit, I'm fucked. That ain't me. It's what I'm about. Right? So just take all these adversities that you're going to face and really rechannel them towards your goals and your dreams, and literally you'll be limitless. I'm so happy for you all. I'm very grateful that you take time out to listen to this podcast. This is a little bit longer one. This time. Next podcast, I'm going to talk about really the evolution of like kind of training in Force Reconnaissance and like going through various schools like jump school, SEER school, and then really the transition to MARSOC. Because I know that's why a lot of y'all are here. You want to be part of the special operations and part of the MARSOC pipeline. And this is just merely my journey on how I got there. Obviously, everyone's experiences are different. This is mine specifically. I am super pumped to share it with you all. And most importantly, I'm super pumped. I want to hear your questions about, in our live Q&A every month. So if you have any questions about the podcast or like, hey, you didn't touch a pace on this, but I'd really like to hear your thought process on it. Make sure you're taking those notes down. Go ahead and prep those questions so I can answer them. And I look forward to seeing y'all all on the next live Q&A as well as this next podcast. So thank you guys so much for attending this. And till next time, catch you later.